Brandon Stokley, two-time Super Bowl champion. You hear him out on 104.3 The Fan out in Denver. Brandon, it's great to have you on the show again. I was just wanted to get your perspective on playing a divisional opponent so quickly after just playing them. I mean, we're talking about, 18 days or so separated between the last game. Has anything changed about these Broncos?
Yeah, a little bit. Kareem Jackson's not going to be playing. But not much. Overall, not that much. Between like you said a couple weeks ago, it was just a short week. I think that's the big difference. You look at those Thursday games. Now you have a little bit more time to prepare, maybe a little bit more time to game plan, which is probably a positive for Kansas City and a negative for the Denver Broncos. And oh, by the way, I wear a size large.
Are you good with the Taylor Swift stuff? Some people are annoyed by it. All right, where do you stand on this?
No, I'm good, man. It's fun. It's different. It brings new viewers to the game, and I think it's just kind of funny, And so, no, I'm good with it. I'm not one of those bitter old men, not yet, anyway. So maybe in about 10 more years. So I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. I think it's fun, and just brings, like I said, a different set of eyeballs and a different dynamic there to the NFL this year, which I think is kind of cool.
You mentioned the Kareem Jackson suspension. I think I saw you on Twitter complaining quite a bit about that hit in particular. Is this one of those cases where you just think the NFL is a little too harsh on it? Or, is Kareem Jackson being punished for what is a reputation in the league for these types of hits?
Yeah, I think it's a reputation, and he's had a couple, bad ones this year that I can't really defend. But that one, I didn't, think it rose to the level of a 4-game suspension. They since reduced it to 2 games. I thought it was to the shoulder, and the guy. It's a violent hit. It's it's football. This is what you do, and things move really quickly. And guys dropping down low, he hits him in the shoulder. The guy's neck whiplashes, and it just to me, doing slow-mo videos here. You got Suits up in New York doing slow-mo videos, and, they're like, oh, his face mask grazed his neck, and it was a violent hit, so, we're going to suspend him for half the season. 4 games is pretty much a quarter of the season. That's a lot of games, so I just didn't think it warranted, that type of punishment.
Brandon, we know the trade deadline is coming up on Tuesday. There's a lot of noise around specifically the Broncos and guys like Jerry Jeudy or others that could be on the move. What does that do for a locker room? I'm sure you were in locker rooms where there were rumblings about guys being on the move. How does that impact the game on Sunday?
Well, I think everyone, especially in the Broncos situation, you just got to be a professional. Right now that all your team goals are done. You're not going to the playoffs. You're not going to have a winning record. So you got to go about your business more as an individual and more as this is your job and this is what you're getting paid a lot of money to do, and you want to perform at a high level so you can have a job next year. You can get a better contract next year. And if it's not with your team, it's with another team. So you just want to continue to put out good film, and it's more of like an individual sport now because of the situation that they're in, unfortunately. I think around here we've been kind of used to this over the last 6-7 years, unfortunately. But that's just got to be your approach. You got to be a pro, and you got to go out there and do your job.
How active do you think Denver is going to be in the trade market? I always wonder, if you've been on one of those teams where some of these players aren't going to be here anymore, Brandon. I would think that would make just playing consistently decent football on a Sunday difficult when you're on one of these teams where 2, 3, 4 players might be on the move.
Yeah, it does make it difficult. It's not ideal, but you got to be a professional ultimately at the end of the day and take care of your business. I'm hoping they trade about 8 guys, honestly, but I think they just need to clean house and kind of start over. You can't just keep holding on to these guys hoping it's going to get better next year and the year after, and that's not the case. You got to just kind of tear it all down and start new. And you look at what's going to happen with Russell Wilson next year. And, if they do move on, the salary cap implications, you got to start trying to get that in order. So you got some of these veteran guys making a lot of money, if you're not going to trade them now, you're probably going to have to release them or trade them in the off season. And I just think it's time to start playing young football players and turn the page on some of these veteran guys.
We're talking to Brandon Stokley, two-time Super Bowl champion. He joins us here on Cody and Gold. With the Chiefs in their wide receiver room, it's been the story really in Kansas City about who has stepped up, who hasn't. The one player that certainly has is the rookie out of SMU and Rashee Rice and what he's been able to do the last couple weeks. I don't know how much you've had a chance, certainly in the game they played the Broncos, to watch him. What stands out about Rashee Rice? Here everybody's pretty excited about his future.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed. Watched a little film on him before the Broncos game. I mean, he looks big. He looks explosive when he catches the football. Like, he can get after it a little bit. And so I get, I know all the fans there in Kansas City ought to be pumped up about him and his potential moving forward. Looks like a big play threat, big body type of receiver that has made some big plays early on in the season for a young football player. That's not easy to do. Fans got to remember that. That's a hard thing to do as a young football player, to come in the league at the wide receiver position, especially in that Kansas City offense where they're moving all around, they're doing all kinds of different things, and there's a lot to learn there. And so a lot of thinking usually goes on, and it takes you a little while to get up to speed. But, man, he looks like the real deal to me. And if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to be excited about him for years to come.
Brandon, I would feel like, especially because you're used to seeing these young guys, especially with a quarterback of Patrick Mahomes' caliber, I think it'd be easy for him, or when you played with Peyton, to just be like, all right, Rook, out of the way. We got stuff we're working on here that doesn't involve you. I feel like that's what stands out to me, is the fact that Patrick Mahomes trusts him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think he realized that he's going to, there's not a lot to trust in that wide receiver room, right? And so when you see the talent, when you're Patrick Mahomes, you're like, all right, that's going to be my guy, and I'm going to work with him, and I'm going to, there's going to be some adversity there. There's going to be some times where he screws up because he's a young football player, but we're going to fight through that, and I'm going to take him under my wing and really work with him and help guide him and mold him to hopefully be my guy moving forward, because that room isn't quite what it once was, certainly there in Kansas City. So I think when Mahomes sees that type of talent, especially if the guy's willing to work and put the time in, you're like, all right, that's my guy. I'm going to take him under my wing and help develop him.
Do you think that the Broncos' plan will be the same as it was 2 weeks ago with Travis Kelce? Will Patrick Surtain be asked to handle some of those duties?
I think so. I do. I think, the big buzzword around here, it's funny how things work out, and like the Broncos country over here, has been fed lies from the media. They think they've got the solution to stop Patrick Mahomes in that offense. I'm just telling you right now. I'm just telling you. And it's the buzzwords are shell coverage. That's what has been preached around here. That's what's been talked about around here in the media. They think they got Mahomes and Andy Reid figured out. They're just going to play shell coverage, which means just like a soft coverage, keep everything underneath, and don't give up the big play. And they think they got Mahomes figured out. And I'm just like, I'm scratching my head. I'm going, guys, y'all really believe in that? You really think that Vance Joseph and Vic Fangio were the ones that came up with this soft coverage here to slow down Patrick Mahomes? So I think you'll see a little bit of that. I think you'll see a little bit of soft coverage. I think for Kansas City, they got to run the football better against that soft coverage. And then, they moved the ball really well up and down the field. They just couldn't score in the red zone. I thought they got too cute. You saw Kadarius Toney playing quarterback. You saw them try to fake that field goal or whatever. I just thought they got way too cute in the red zone. And when it works, everyone's, it's on SportsCenter, they're doing Ring Around the Rosie and stuff, and it's the best thing ever. But it didn't work against the Broncos last time, and they should have blown the Broncos out. And so it'd be interesting to see. I think the Broncos are going to have the same game plan pretty much defensively, and just kind of pray that Mahomes throws them a couple bad interceptions and they can slow down that running game. And maybe the weather. It's going to be bad weather. It's going to be cold. It doesn't look like it's going to be very, very good weather. So maybe that helps the Broncos out. But it's kind of funny, the narrative around here after that Thursday night game.
Yeah, just 19 points for the Chiefs offense, which had some people a little concerned after the Broncos game. But I think you laid it out well there. Just a lot of missed red zone opportunities at that point. And I think that'll be an area where a lot of Chiefs fans will be keeping an eye on if they're better in the red zone this go around against the Broncos. Brandon, we'll get you a Taylor Swift T-shirt, if you want one.
I love it. Is she coming to town or what? I mean, everyone wants to know what's the inside scoop.
I haven't heard if she's coming to Denver.
Yeah. She didn't go to the Minneapolis. She didn't go to Minnesota. The only road game she's gone to was in New York, but she lives in New York
She
City.
already saw the Broncos play too. I don't know if she's trying to change up the team she watches, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be bad weather. She's probably not down with that. So, yeah, it's just the Broncos. She probably figures it's going to be a blowout for the Chiefs. Why waste her time, right?
There you go. All right, Brandon. Appreciate it, man.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Thanks.
There you go. That's Brandon Stokley, two-time Super Bowl champion, host over at 104.3 The Fan in Denver. Fun to talk with him.